There's something about Tommy Shelby that instantly commands respect. He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't posture, he barely moves. And yet, the moment he enters a room, people listen. It's not magic. It's something much more powerful. In this video, we're breaking down how Tommy Shelby earned the respect of gangsters, politicians, and enemies without ever needing to shout, and how you can quietly develop the same kind of commanding presence in your own life. Number 1, the power of stillness. Tommy Shelby moves like time itself bends around him. While others flinch, fidget, or react, he stays calm, deliberate, in control. His every movement feels intentional, never rushed, never accidental. Whether lighting a cigarette or turning to speak, the message is always the same: I'm not intimidated.
Talking to you, Mr. Shelby.
This slow, steady demeanor isn't just good acting, it's psychology. When someone moves slowly in a high-stress situation, we interpret it as confidence. It's a signal that says, I have power, I am not afraid. Most people rush when they're nervous. Tommy does the opposite, and it instantly sets him apart. But stillness alone isn't enough. It's what he combines with it that makes him almost untouchable. Number 2, eyes that don't blink. Tommy's eye contact is legendary. He holds his gaze through threats, lies, and chaos. Not aggressively, but unwaveringly. It creates a magnetic pull. People can't look away, even when they want to. But there's a nuance here. He doesn't just stare for the sake of it. When tensions rise, he chooses when to hold, when to break, and how to de-escalate, all without losing face. It's not about dominating, it's about signaling control.
Who have they spoken to?
You'd have them only speak to God.
God being their witness.
That is God, and that are the Peaky Blinders. This is Spark Elwood and Smallheath. We're much, much closer to Tom than God.
In psychology, holding eye contact during conflict shows non-reactiveness. It signals that you're not afraid, not flustered, and not looking for an exit. When Tommy gets provoked, he doesn't explode, he doesn't flinch, and that silence, that stare, it forces the other person to feel the tension they created. There's power in not reacting, and Tommy uses that better than almost anyone. Number 3, conviction without volume. Tommy rarely yells. He doesn't need to. Why? Because when he speaks with conviction. He doesn't say, I hope. He says, I will. No hesitation, no doubt. Even his voice tone mirrors his confidence. His statements end with a downward inflection, not an upward one.
Kill your fucking teacher, John!
Legitimate business is the priority. Now, do what's on the list and fuck off.
In human speech, an upward tone at the end of a sentence signals uncertainty. Think about the difference between I'm sure versus I'm sure. One ends a conversation, the other invites contradiction. That's the genius of Tommy Shelby. He speaks like a man who already knows the outcome. No fluff, no filler. And paired with those long, weighted pauses, he pulls people in. Just when you think he's about to speak, he waits, and suddenly you're hanging on his next word. 4. The pause that commands. Most people fear silence in conversation. Tommy uses it like a weapon. He pauses not to search for words, but to force others to listen. A pause creates suspense. It makes every word after it feel more important. And Tommy knows exactly when to deploy it. When he speaks in front of crowds, his cadence slows, his gestures widen, his tone deepens. He scales his presence to match the room. And even in chaos, like when a bomb ticks in the background, he stays calm, still, focused. That calmness, especially when danger is near, sends a loud message. You can't rattle me. And that leads us to one of the most powerful lessons Tommy teaches us. 5. Psychological control. Tommy doesn't win respect through intimidation alone. He understands what motivates people, what they want, and what they fear. and he uses that knowledge to control situations without brute force. In Peaky Blinders, he often offers two choices, one that appeals to desire and another that appeals to fear. This is called carrot and stick motivation, and it works because it speaks directly to someone's emotions. For example, in one scene, he stays calm under gunpoint, not because he's fearless, but because he knows more about the man threatening him than the man knows about himself. That imbalance of knowledge, that's psychological leverage.
He researches his enemies. That's why he's been chosen.
I am chosen. I'm chosen.
And in your life, you can use a softer version of this same technique. Want a raise? Don't just ask. Create value, carrot, and get competing offers, stick. Present both calmly. Suddenly, the power shifts in your favor. Tommy rarely says, please, or can I? He asks questions that force decisions. And when people hesitate, he waits them out. 6. Quiet confidence, built from pain. But there's something deeper behind his calm exterior, a storm that never leaves the frame. Tommy's trauma. His time in World War I changed him. It gave him PTSD, nightmares, and a detachment from normal life. That pain becomes his armor. He doesn't react, not because he's fearless, but because he's already seen the worst. This gives his confidence a strange edge. It's not arrogance, it's experience. Tommy's been through things most people can't imagine. And when you've already survived the worst, everyday threats lose their sting. Viewers may admire his charisma, but it's his resilience that truly commands respect. He walks through fire, not because he wants to, but because he's already burned. And that adds a dangerous complexity to everything he does. 7. The dark side of influence. Now, here's where it gets complicated. While fans admire Tommy Shelby, others criticize the show for glorifying his behavior. He lies, he betrays, he even turns on his own family at times. And yet, he remains the hero in the eyes of many viewers. Why? Because he walks the line between power and morality so perfectly. He does horrible things for what he believes are good reasons. He sacrifices love for legacy, peace for power. And in doing so, he becomes more than a gangster, he becomes a symbol of silent strength. But that strength comes at a price. Rumors online debate whether Tommy Shelby is a tragic hero or a dangerous role model. Some say he represents masculine stoicism in its purest form. Others argue he's emotionally shut down, toxic, and a cautionary tale in disguise. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. What does it really mean to command respect? Tommy Shelby doesn't command respect because he talks the loudest. He commands it because he never has to. Through slow movement, unwavering eye contact, strategic silence, and deep understanding of human psychology, he bends entire rooms to his will. And he does it all while barely raising his voice. But here's the question we'll leave you with. Is that kind of influence really worth the emotional cost? Because while Tommy earned power, he lost almost everything else. Would you trade peace for presence? Want to build this kind of calm, natural confidence in your real life, without the trauma and betrayals? It starts with inner work, not outer intimidation. And if you're serious about mastering it, there's more coming soon on this channel. So, stay tuned.